The pushback, just the pushback and how vehement some of that pushback has been. So I mentioned the Google Doc that the Society of Forensic Anthropologists set up, where people were able to give their comments and so forth, so they could put together their, their conversation event. And some of those comments in there, I mean, they were bordering on ad hominem, against myself and against Dr. Bethard. So just really vehement. We have to do Ancestry. We can't, it's like the death grip of control that this we were taught to do this, and we absolutely have to, and there's no way we can ever think about this any other way, right? So being completely like doors chained shut and soldered shut, like not even willing to let in, a sliver of light to say, well, maybe they've got a point, right? Now, certainly, I do have colleagues who have demonstrated that change of mind of, okay, maybe they've got a point. I'm willing to entertain this, right? But and I admire that, right? Because that's not easy to do when you sit down and you really take a hard look and you say, okay, maybe the way I've been thinking about this the entire time is wrong. But there are several who are just, no, I'm not even willing to think about this. There's absolutely no way the police are biased. There's no evidence for that. Meanwhile, some of that evidence that I just listed, and as Dr. Bethard mentioned, there are people who study this for a living. This is what they do. They study bias in the criminal justice system. And so the fact that people are willing to just, kind of pick and choose the lines of evidence that they're willing to go with, that's really reinforced for me personally the difficulty of you can't deal with it. And as I said before, until, if I'm not willing to admit that, I've got a problem with eating too many carbs, I'm not going to be able to deal with, the extra weight I've gained during the pandemic, right? Same thing with structural racism. If I'm not willing to admit that white fragility exists, and I just bought that book actually over the weekend at Barnes and Noble. It's excellent. Robin DiAngelo. I recommend it to everybody to read. If I'm not willing to admit that structural racism exists, we're not getting anywhere, right? We're not dismantling anything. So I would say that's what I've taken away from this process.